Hi guys.
Welcome to Two.
Oh, welcome back to.
Why?
Fuck that.
Girl.
No, start again. Welcome back to Two Fly Girls podcast. We are on episode 11.
11.
So
That's
good.
that's actually like more than I expected.
Oh yeah, I didn't think we'd get past episode 1 to be honest, but here we are. And we've got a very exciting guest today.
Yes, Felicia. She's one of my good friends. We've only just recently met, but I feel like we are soul sisters. So
Oh, I love that.
we have a lot in common, much to our partner's dismay.
Yeah.
Felicia, could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and, just introduce yourself, I guess.
It's really always difficult to intro yourself, especially you would know, ladies, when you wear a lot of different hats, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I could say I'm a counsellor, so I specialise in women's mental health, mainly to do with domestic violence. Now also added author to the list of things that I do, and advocate for women in general, you know, like people that have been victim survivors of DV and children that have been through DV and grown up, and then that cycle kind of starts to repeat itself. To advocates for women and children, basically.
Yeah. You left off a title. You were Miss Australia or Miss Universe or a beauty pageant winner.
How could I forget?
How did you forget that?
Also used to work at Hooters, so add that to the CV as well.
Thank you.
We had to put those two in there.
Come on, you're selling yourself short.
Well, I guess these are all experiences that shape who you are, good and bad, right? So, yeah.
And you just recently released a book, Accessory.
Yes, I did. I released my memoir. It's really funny because I tell people I've got a book out and they're like, okay, what is it? Expecting me to say like fiction and I'm like, it's a memoir. And they're like, but you're in your 30s. How do you have a memoir? And I'm like, I've had a big life. Yeah, I've been through some shit, enough to put a memoir together. And we even had to cut a lot out. Like, this is the shortened version. What you get is the shortened version. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, there could be a
nice.
part 2. Seriously, there could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be hard to figure out what to cut and what to keep, because I know I had that with my documentary. I had to cut certain things out, but I was like, but I really wanted that in there that like tells my story.
It's one of those things where you see it from a different perspective to what the producer, or in my case, the editor, would you know, see as important to keep in or out. And I just looked at it from a perspective of I needed to pick my battles with what stayed in and what didn't.
Yeah.
There was one thing that I wanted to keep in that I kind of fought for, and the other things I thought, you know what, that's fine. We can edit that out. The part where my dad's side of the family thought that I would be born black because my mum's side of the family, you know, has dark origin. Yes. So anyway, they were terrorizing my dad, saying, don't go to the hospital, your baby's going to come out black. Not that should be a problem, but it was at that time.
It was in that time.
Yeah. So a bit of internal racism within the family. And I wanted to really keep that in there. I felt like that was an important story.
Yeah.
Because it shows that you can be born into certain situations. And I always say too, like when I went to court, I feel like I was treated differently or maybe a little bit more favourably because of the colour of my skin, because I was born fair. So I know that a lot of women are in a position where they get demonised because they're dark-skinned.
Yeah.
So I thought it was an important factor to put that in
For
there.
sure.
Yeah.
And that was your non-negotiable. You're like, no, that's staying.
I was like,
in
I'm
there.
keeping that story in there.
Yeah. Screw you. It's my story anyway.
And that's the beginning of your story as well. That's the start of your life.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
I guess I want to ask you what inspired you to work in trauma and especially in women's prisons.
I fell into working with trauma. I thought it was something I never wanted to do. Yeah. And I also thought working in the DV space is something I never wanted to do either. So I'm a bit surprised that this is where I've ended up, because I initially was studying law, the irony in that, right?
Wow.
So when I got arrested, I was studying law. And then after I had my charges, I thought, you know, you're never going to get admitted to the bar now. You need to pivot and choose something else. Now's a different story. A lot of people who go through uni and study law, they are being admitted to the bar with a criminal history. But 10 years ago when I was charged, that wasn't even an option. So the law community is very progressive, as opposed to other industries like health, which is still very discriminatory against people with criminal history. So they're being a lot more accepting and really appreciative of lived experience and the skills that can't be taught unless you've actually been in that position, right? So I was studying law, and then I was like, oh, okay, I can't continue studying law because I've got charges, like this is futile. And also I wanted to do a course that you could study from home, because back then too, correspondence learning was not your norm. It wasn't common. COVID changed all that, and I guess just technology changed all that as well over the years. So one of the courses that were available was social science and counselling, and I thought, you know what, that sounds pretty interesting. I'll just do that. And I wanted to work from home. I wanted to study from home because my father had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. Literally, like, everything was like bang, bang, bang. My dad was unwell. He was dying. I got charged. Dean goes to prison. So I needed to have something that I could do, be at home with my dad, and also work on my recovery as well at the same time. So I guess that's why it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to, you know, make this decision. I thought, this is convenient. I'll probably be good at this.
Sense.
It made sense. But then over time, I developed a real love for it.
I guess your lived experiences helps you in that field as well,
100%. And it's like, you can learn so much in a textbook. But unless you've lived it, you have a different perspective on it. And it makes you realise too that things are not black and white. Things are grey, and then they're red, and then they're purple, and then they're fucking God knows what. You know what I mean? Like, life is not cut and dry like it's taught in textbooks. Things are not as they seem sometimes. You've got to think outside the box. And so I think it's important to have people in the profession that have lived through some hard shit. And also, too, your clients relate to you more if you say, hey, you know what? Like, I get what that feels like. They respect you.
They're not questioning that and being like, do you actually understand?
They're not like, this bitch who's fucking had an easy life. She hasn't been through nothing trying to tell me she understands me. And they just disengage.
Because you've been at rock bottom. You've been arrested and charged and lived that, you know, that kind of life as well. So you're not just up on your high horse telling these people to move on or to do better with their life, especially like women that are in prison being charged with whatever, and you're like, oh, no, you need to do better. You have lived those experiences, so they can't turn around and be like, what the fuck do you know?
And no one on purpose tries to do badly. We're all trying to do the best that we can. I think we lose sight of that when we judge others. We're like, oh, well, they need to do better and be better, and no one on purpose wants to be not thriving or not killing it or not making it. There's always a reason why you're not moving forward. You know, and I think we lose sight of that. Well, society does anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a massive topic, I feel like, in whether you're studying, whether you're in a job, a profession. It's like, especially with us, like, we're fighters and we literally, like, are in combat with another person. And, you know, it's so easy for other people, I feel like, to have their own opinions and of what you should do and how you should live. And it's always like, well, have you lived that? Like, are you speaking from experience? No. So how can you say how I feel? Do you know what I mean? Like, you haven't been in the positions I've been in, or the positions, like unfortunate positions, or like as a job we fight. So it's like we've chosen to do that, but it's so true that you can only really judge someone when you've lived it and like been in their position. Otherwise you can't really judge, you can't have an opinion, you can't do anything like that.
Totally agree with that. And even having the ability to say, you know what, I actually haven't been in that position before, but I'll try and put myself in your shoes and then try and understand why you've done the things you've done, or why you've reacted the way that you've reacted. I think it's very, very easy for people to point and to judge, but you usually find that the people are most judgmental have the most hectic shit in their closets.
Yeah.
And the most like shit. It's like clean the shit off your own front doorstep before you come knocking
Oh
on
my
my door.
God.
You know?
Yes. Amen. Amen. Look at yourself in the mirror first before you start throwing rocks. Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to go back to my questions. Can you explain more about your growth-focused trauma model? Because I know that's a big thing. I guess when I looked on your website, everything is focused around your growth trauma model and how great it's worked, and it's kind of been your passion from what I saw on the website. So could you explain a little bit more about the model and how you came about it, I guess?
I felt like there was not a lot of options for people who've experienced trauma to have a positive outlook moving forward. It was all, this diagnosis, this label, and then you can become your label. It's not to minimize what you've been through or your diagnosis, no way. It's not about that. It's about picking out the parts of your trauma that have taught you life lessons or made you have a new perspective on life after having been through that shit. So it's a more positive way of looking forward as opposed to staying stuck.
Stuck in that label.
Yeah, stuck in that label, stuck in what happened, because the world keeps spinning.
Yeah.
And people go about their day to day, and then you're stuck in yourself, you're stuck in that trauma. So unless you can see some light at the end of the tunnel, it's really, really hard to move forward. And you've got to be at a certain spot in your recovery to be able to, I guess, adopt this or take this on, to sit and think, okay, you know what? I've been through A, B, C, but these are the things that I've pulled out of it that make me value my life, go into healthier relationships, have more respect for my body. There's all these different things. That's just loose examples, right? Yeah. Like when my father was dying and he was terminally ill, I thought there is no way I'll ever be able to pull a positive out of this situation because it was so horrific. But looking back now, there have been a lot of positives. At the time, none of my friends' parents had passed away. Now some parents have started to pass away, and I can put my arms around them and say, I get it. I get it, and I can comfort them. So that's one really positive thing to come out of a horrible situation.
Yes. Yeah.
And also an appreciation for the fragility of life.
Yeah.
And we're only here for a short time, that we need to live now.
Yeah.
I think we all lose perspective of that fact, and we all go about our day to day. We get really stuck inside our lives. And it's like, hey, reminder, we're not here forever. Like, do the thing now.
Yes.
Do it now. Like, you could be dead tomorrow.
Yeah.
So all of these things have come from
Something
really,
horrible.
really fucked up
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah.
But they're all positive things. So that's the ethos of the growth trauma model, that there is growth in some really horrible, fucked up situations.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I know
Love
you
that.
always hear about, it's reminded you not to take life advantage of it. Like, live your life, and every day, be thankful that you've woken up, because some people haven't.
Yeah.
But I've never thought of, how to comfort someone in that time now. And it's a way to, I guess, pass on what's broken you, what's hurt you, and how to make someone else feel better in that time. I think that's a beautiful
and
way
it's
to
a
look at
full
it.
circle thing too.
Yeah.
It's a gift and it's a full circle thing,
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I never
That's
would have
amazing.
thought about that. Yeah.
And like you said, it does, obviously, with the people the females you've worked with in that space, it obviously takes time, and they do need to be in a different stage of that recovery. Like, obviously at the time of your father's passing and all of that going on, the last thing you were thinking about is a positive that
if
was
someone
coming
came
out.
to me and told me about this, way of thinking, I'd say, get the fuck
Shut
out.
Fuck off.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So exactly.
It's like you're in this emotional state where nothing else can come in. Like, there's no other thoughts other than, how am I going to move on?
Oh, yeah.
Like, how am I going
Deep
to
in
actually
grief.
get through this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an amazing thing to put it into perspective. I'm literally just thinking about that.
So the timing's got to be right.
Yeah.
And you've got to be ready, and you've got to be able to see it for the potential in it, basically, to be able to adopt it. Yeah.
There was a stage in your book where you're talking about the last months of your father's when he was sick and he was passing, and when you started your counselling and started to learn more about how the brain works, in those last months you saw things that, like, he was hoarding food and he was doing all these things that at the time you were questioning why he was doing it. But then once you had, you were studying and stuff, you realised it came back to a childhood trauma of his.
Yeah.
Can you explain that? And
well, it just shows that the impact of the things that happen to you when you're a kid stay with you and they're imprinted upon you, and you can live with them and you can learn to function and be, mentally as healthy as possible, and you can do all these things. But it's really, really interesting that when he had dementia, these things came back.
They were like instincts.
Yes, they came back, and he actually, they didn't have enough food growing up. So there were points in his childhood when he was starving, and to have a lack of food and to be hungry as a child is one of the adverse childhood experiences.
Yeah.
So they rate that on a scale, right? So that came back to him, and I wonder, it made me wonder how many people that are in nursing homes or in care for dementia or Alzheimer's have their traumas come back to them, and how is that being managed, dealt with or cared for?
Yeah.
It's a really big question mark.
Yes.
Yeah, because they just write it down as it's just dementia, but it might be these traumas. They're
Coming
reliving
back.
these traumas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially because they're in these homes and a lot
Abandoned.
abandoned a lot of the time. Like, I've seen it with both sides of my grandparents, they're in these homes and they're getting minimal care, know. I mean, I think some homes are different, but they are getting minimal care. Sometimes it's even hard to ask to keep water, like give them bottles of water, like don't let them dehydrate. Like, it's just they've got so many in the same
the same unit.
In the same unit that it's too much to care for. So like you said, those ones that are suffering with dementia, they're definitely not getting what the emotional support that they need.
Just mainly, look, again, like you said, we can't speak on behalf of all facilities, but I would say majority have staff shortages. That's why they did a big investigation into it. And also I think the people are over-medicated, and there are better ways to manage dementia and Alzheimer's than over-medicating our elderly. There are way better things that can be done that aren't rocket science. We have the evidence, we have the studies that have been done on it. It's just that capacity is not on priority, is not given to that.
Yeah.
And Australia as a whole, I think that our family units are being degraded more and more, and that's going to mean that our children and our elderly are going to have less care and nurturing as time goes on. Because I feel if you, as a country, support the family unit and place importance in that, then you're going to culturally know it's appropriate to look after your elderly. And you see that in other cultures, like the ethnic cultures. Some people don't have capacity to do that. But if the cost of living wasn't so high, people wouldn't have to work so much, and then they could look after their elderly parent.
Yes.
And, it's like a flow-on effect.
Yeah.
So the way we treat our most vulnerable in society is a reflection of the state of our country.
Yeah.
Basically, that's the way that I see it. So they deserve better. They work all their lives, they pay taxes, they raise their children, and then they kind of get treated like that, and it's unacceptable. So there needs to be better ways of looking after and nurturing our elderly.
Trying to lose sight, chasing your tail, trying to stay above water, trying to feed, put food on the table, and it's
and then our most vulnerable suffer.
Yeah.
I
had a question. Wondering I know, but maybe the audience doesn't.
Pretend you don't.
What gave you the inspiration, I guess, or what drove you to working with women in prison?
Well, I could give one answer, but there's like a whole heap of different, know, it's so broad. When I was sitting in the Supreme Court, sitting there, I'm getting sentenced. And I don't know if I'm coming home that night or not. So after that experience, And also too, after the discrimination that I faced, having a criminal record, not being able to get employment, and then I had to lie and change my name, and then I started getting all these job offers, but then walking on eggshells at work thinking, is someone going to bust me for lying about my name? You know, and I did get busted a couple of times. And I'm like, oh, fuck, tricks up, next job. So you shouldn't have to do that.
No.
And the trauma and the things that women and men both go through, like I've seen the implications of, you know, my partner, how he came out of prison and how much it impacts your mental health, separation from family, separation from children. So although I believe that there are a lot of alternatives to incarceration, so many alternatives, I could talk all day about that. But what is being done for the people who are inside right now? And, you know, there's abolitionists, there's, you know, all these things that go on or get spoken about. But when my partner's calling me from inside prison, I can't say, don't worry, we're working on having all the prisons shut down, you know, like what's happening right now to make things better for the people who are already inside. And a lot of women are incarcerated for non-violent crimes. They are things that can be managed in the community. And I think that as a society, we use jail as a solution to a myriad of social issues. So homelessness, addiction, mental health, DV. Oh, yeah, okay, prison.
Yeah.
People come out worse. They don't come out better. So if you're going in, right, you're keeping up your end of the bargain to give away your time for something you've done, right? But where's the other side of the deal coming in here? Like, where is the education? Where is the mental health care?
Well, you're meant to do the time and learn skills or heal, I guess, from and come out better. That's what the
with
what
no
they
resources.
say jail is, right? But they don't give you the resources, and then they really make it impossible for you to come out and assimilate into society and be normal in society, which is all I'm sure most want, is to just forget about prison, leave that in behind them, and come back and be in society and be accepted. But they're not, and it makes it very, very hard for them.
If you give somebody a chance, like, for example, a woman coming out of prison or has a conviction history, a job, guess what? She's going to go to work, keep a roof over her head. If her children have been taken from her, have a chance to have her children back, you know, and that's breaking that cycle of trauma. It's very traumatic, people having their children taken. And then they're able to move forward with their lives, but instead there's all these barriers that come up. And I think unless you've been exposed to the reality of how bad it is, your everyday person just doesn't get it. It's a very traumatizing environment. You know, even for example, say somebody is arrested for DV, a male's arrested for DV, right? So you will have, if you have a tendency towards violence, you'll have an overactive amygdala. Anyway, the environment that is prison further dysregulates that part of the brain. So how are you ever going to come out better or with skills to manage your anger or to manage the things that you need to look at to not repeat that pattern? So you put him in, okay, he committed DV, put him into prison, all right? Then he comes out and he just moves on to someone else.
Yeah.
And does the same repeated behaviour.
He's not learnt. There's no lessons. There's
so
no
we're like, lock
tools.
them up. But it's like putting a Band-Aid on a gushing wound.
Yes.
If you're going to lock them up, do something about the situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Not to mention going into that kind of environment is like putting fuel on a fire. There's a lot of violence, a lot of, it's not a very good environment. So, and then they leave you with no resources to do better, to figure out how to be better, how to come out and come back into society and not do it again.
You can't lock them up forever. So what are you doing to mitigate the risk when they come out?
Yeah.
So in general, across male and female, is it getting better or is it staying the same?
I would say it's maybe getting worse.
Yeah, okay.
It's getting worse from my perspective anyway. It might be a bit skewed.
Yeah. No, but from your sort of your role and what you do for females, is it, can you talk us through like the process that you do with females when they come out or during or however long they're in for.
Before I say that, I'll say maybe I feel like it's getting worse because of the level of evidence that we have to suggest that it does
Getting
not
better.
work.
Okay.
So where is the excuse? So we have progressed in the sense of they've done a lot of studies. We know a lot about the brain now. We have all this information, but yet we're using a system that is archaic. It's so old. Like we need a new system. And I have a book that has the mental health records of women who are in one of the first prisons in Australia who are in the mental health ward. And the reasons behind why they were getting locked up then are exactly the same as what they are now.
And what are those reasons?
So poverty crimes.
Yeah.
Poverty crimes, or getting implicated in charges because of the partner, not having enough money to feed themselves and their children. So they would steal or commit whatever type of crime, but the motivation was predominantly survival.
Yeah.
And it's still the same today.
Wow.
It's predominantly survival. So it's a social issue. So
Yeah.
the social issue is causing the problems.
The big issue.
Basically.
Yes.
The big
Which
issue.
is why you're saying it's getting worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that when you come out, you don't have enough support, or post charges, you don't have enough support. You need extensive mental health support. You need to have an environment that is conducive to wellness. A lot of people come out, they don't even have anywhere to live.
Yes.
So how can
Yeah.
you expect somebody to stay out if they don't even have anywhere to live?
Yes.
And that speaks to disconnection with your kin and your family when you are in prison, because they can move you here, there and everywhere, and it can become quite difficult for your family to visit you. So then there's that
You lose
disconnection. And then when you come out, where have you got to go?
Yeah.
Because in hard times you look to family, even if it's not blood family, for support and community.
yeah.
Someone to say, get your shit together, you know, I've
Yes.
got your back, stay on the fucking straight and narrow, you know, don't drink, or let's go to the gym, or let's go for a
Good
walk.
influences
or,
around
you
you.
need good influences
Yeah.
around
Otherwise
you.
you fall straight back into that
Straight-
life.
100%. If you
Yeah.
don't have community around you, or you've been disconnected from everyone, like, what are you meant to do?
And that's the thing. Then they're going straight back into that survival environment. That's the reason they were in there for.
To begin with.
Yeah.
Yes.
So of course they're going to commit the crimes again and again because there's nothing to help them.
Exactly. And I'll just speak a little bit about, you know, to your question. Usually there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt involved in regards to all the things that have happened before, during, after for a lot of people. And to cope with or to push those negative emotions down, you know, then addiction sparks back up.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just an unhealthy coping mechanism. But we've got a lot of coping mechanisms in society, right? Workaholics, but you get a gold star for that. But if you use drugs or alcohol, you know, fuck, that's really, really
Shame
bad.
on you.
Shame on you. But it's all coping mechanisms,
Yeah.
right? And it's about working on childhood stuff for a lot of people. Everyone's different. Working on shame and self-worth, that you're actually worth having you're worth it to have a good life. You deserve to have a good life like everyone else. No one is above or below.
Yes.
No one is above or below.
Yes.
Like, you're a person, you are here, you have good in you, you have
Yeah.
potential. Sometimes it just takes one person to say, you know what, I believe in you, you've got
Yeah.
this. We all fuck up, we all fall down, just don't stay down.
Yeah.
You know, let's try and move forward. You deserve to have a good life, because if you've been told that you're a piece of shit your whole life, guess what? You're going to start to think you're a fucking piece of shit,
Yeah.
And you're going
right?
to start acting like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're going to think, you know what? No one gives a fuck about me. I don't give a fuck about me. I've got nothing to lose. And then, you know,
Then why bother?
why
Yeah.
bother? Yeah, so that
Yeah.
you help people to see that they're worth something, you know?
Yes. That's amazing. It's honestly amazing what you're doing.
Thank
amazing. Like I'm learning so much about everything right
Chelsea
now.
was really nervous
I
about
was
doing
really
this
nervous.
podcast
Were
you?
because she
Why?
hadn't finished the book yet.
I didn't finish. Like I'm like
And she's
halfway
like, I know
through.
nothing. And I'm like,
all
it'll
right.
be fine.
But you speak so well and I understand.
You knew this. You're like, it'll be sweet. Don't worry about it.
She'll
she's
be
like,
fine.
Stop it now.
Wait till you hear her crazy story.
Yeah.
I feel like I wasn't going to touch base on it but you've mentioned it a bunch of times that you've been charged and convicted, and it's obviously shaped how your career has gone. So I guess for the audience listening, do you want to go into kind of like what happened with your conviction? And obviously there was a really traumatic experience within your arrest and things like that you've had to fight through, which is a really crazy story.
Insane.
Imagine
Honestly,
seeing you
insane.
sitting here now with this beautiful face compared to what it looked like that night. So could you explain just a little bit about what convictions that you've got and I guess what led you there?
I think what happened seems now upon reflection so like left field and fucking bizarre. Like it's just like I know it's happened, but it's like, did that really fucking happen?
Yeah,
Do
because
you know what I mean?
So crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
full on.
it's so obscure and it was
Yeah.
so unnecessary, very heavy-handed, didn't need to happen the way that it happened, but it did. So if you read my book, I guess you get the detailed version.
Yeah.
But basically I was burnt by a grenade during a no-knock police raid and it was very traumatic. And it took me a long time to recover from that, not just physically, but the mental side of things as well. You know, my PTSD was horrible. I couldn't even leave the house. I was paranoid. Like, it's just there was so many things that I had to deal with and cope with, and then court on top of that, and my father dying. So there was a lot
piling on.
A lot piling on. But basically the police threw grenades through the window while we were sleeping, and a couple of grenades hit me. I got quite badly burnt and I had to be airlifted to the burns unit. And then from there on, there was a big recovery period. And I'm so thankful that I have my health back.
Mm-hmm.
But part of the motivation for getting my health back was maybe spite. I was like, fuck you.
You're not going to keep me down, bitch.
Literally, don't let the bastards get you down.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to keep pushing forward. But there were definitely times where I thought, fuck, am I going to be and think and feel like this forever? And I guess that speaks to anyone that's going through a really difficult period. At some points, I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel either. And here we are.
Yeah.
So anything is possible. Don't give up hope because you don't know where you will be 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. You know, there's always something, you know, some hope to hold on to, you know.
Not to mention your resilience to make a career change. Like you're so deep
huge.
in law and you're ready to go to the bar and you're like, nah, you knew that you weren't going to get
would not be
accepted into
accepted.
it. So you're like,
You had to do a hard pivot.
yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously excelled at it. So like that just shows how like resilient you are and
I guess
determined you
that's
are.
another lesson, guys. Like sometimes you even if you don't want to, you have to do a hard pivot to survive and to move forward and say, this is working for me, not against
Yeah.
me. This might feel fucking really shit right now, but I need to just go with it and trust that this is where I'm being guided to go.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy. Do you feel like, you know, looking back, how long has it been now?
Coming up to nearly 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you feel like where you are now with what you're doing and you're sort of you're living your purpose, right? You're serving those that are struggling themselves and being through very, very similar things than what you've been through. Do you feel like the woman that you are now is sort of someone that you needed back then?
Yes, I would say
Good question.
that's pretty accurate. Yeah. I needed someone to be able to look to that had been through a similar experience to say, actually, not all hope is lost. I can have a life after what's happened to me.
Yeah.
And I can get shit done and still have a happy, fulfilling life. Whereas there's not a lot of people out there that you can look to and say that about, especially in regards to women with conviction histories. I was like, who can I get to mentor me to help me to get a job? Because I couldn't get work. You know, I had to just figure it out on my own. And I think although we've come a long way, we've got a long way to go. So women are already discriminated against in the workplace at a much higher level than the discrimination that happens with men. But then put a conviction on top of that, it's like putting fuel onto a fire, you know, and also too, if you're a woman with a conviction history, you're going so far against the stereotype of what it should look like or mean to be the perfect woman in society, as we're told by everybody, how we need to look, how much we need to weigh, you know, all of these things, all of these pressures. Again, we've come a long way, but not far enough. So if you're a woman and you've committed a crime, you must be really fucking awful because, you know, you are so far, going so far against the ideal picture of what a woman is to be a woman. So people hiring, they've got that unconscious, you know, that they've been conditioned to see things a certain way. So I feel like when I was, you know, trying to look for work and blah, and things have worked out well for me. So I want to push to end the stigma and to end the discrimination, especially workplace discrimination for women with conviction history, because we're losing out on a whole market of people that would be very valuable to the workplace. So nursing,
they have a lot to lose.
Childcare.
Come out.
As women, we go into more, you know, caring roles. We just do statistically, whether people like to say it or not, but there is a difference there into the roles that we go into. Social work. For all these jobs, you need checks, and I understand the reason behind the checks, but we need to look at people individually, not a blanket rule that blanks out so many good people that would be really shit hot at their fucking job. Like so many women with conviction history would be amazing at social work, amazing at counselling, just because they're lived experience. But they find it so hard to get into those roles. So
is there what steps not that you or in general is there anything happening now where that can change, where they're looking at letting people with convictions come into those fields, or is it just a hard no? There's not any kind of reform, nothing.
Slowly, but I think it's more of a hard no. More often than not. And I think that's because with the discrimination laws, every other form of discrimination except for discrimination based on criminal history, you were able to litigate against. So I can't take said organisation who's discriminated against me to court. There's no legal liability and they know that, and that's why they discriminate, because there's no ramifications. So a few years ago, I went for a job at New South Wales Health and I got the job, right? Anyway, when they found out about my criminal history, I was told that I no longer had that position. And I knew it was because of the criminal history element. And when they had called me and asked me the reason behind the offending, I basically just said, you know what? Trauma history, A, B, C, D, E, F, G happened, DV relationship, left one relationship, went to it. Anyway, I won't go into it. Read the book, but
read the book, you need to.
I explained to them, you know, the situation. So with that, for one, I really shouldn't have had to have explained the situation to somebody that wasn't a therapist, wasn't trauma informed. They were a HR person. But I did. I was in a place where I could do that mentally. But a lot of people might not have been, and that would have been something that would not be appropriate or safe. And then after that, they said, we can't support this going forward. So I took them to the Human Rights Commission. And during that process, they agreed that their hiring process is not trauma-informed and they need to work to actually make it more trauma-informed and also give opportunities to women who have conviction histories, especially in the cases of having experienced trauma and DV. So they admitted all that, but it doesn't go any further than that because there's no liability. There's no legal liability. So I think if the law changed to have criminal history discrimination, something that you could litigate, a lot of things would change.
How could we go about trying to take steps towards making that a law?
That's a good question, actually. That is a really good question. I was hoping that the Human Rights Commission was actually going to make a recommendation on that, and they didn't.
No.
After me taking, New South Wales Health to task on it, I was hoping that they'd make a recommendation that that's something that needs to be looked at, but they didn't do that. So, yeah.
It's a shame.
It is.
That is a shame.
A missed opportunity,
It
really.
is, because there are a lot of women that need to come out and come back into society that would be great at those kinds of jobs, and they just get the door shut on them every time. So
it makes sense. It's good for the individual. It's good for our children. It's good for society as a whole. So it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I can see why some, I guess, criminal charges would be a hard no, like say if it was violent kind of victim-based crimes, but I can't see why other kinds of crimes that don't have victims, or if, it wasn't a violent crime, why they wouldn't be allowed to come into that kind of profession. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's all about risk. So New South Wales Health said that they did a risk assessment on me, and that's why. And I asked for a copy of the risk assessment. Still have never received it.
Yeah, they didn't do that. They're full of shit.
You risky bitch. And I just thought, you know what, that's so inaccurate, because people that know me and know the work that I do and the person that I am and my work history, etc.
That speaks for itself.
Exactly.
The history.
You're
work
like the
history.
safest
What is
person
the
you could leave your
assessment
kid
based
with, or
on?
your
Yeah.
grandma, or
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no grounds to what the assessment was actually based on. Like, they didn't talk to you. They didn't go to, like, family members or friends to be like, how is she out in society? Like, nothing. It was just like, oh, no, hard no. But like you said before, everyone is treated the same.
Blanket
It's
rule.
just like you said, some violence would probably not be accepted, but they're not looking at individual cases. They're just looking at, you committed a crime, you're going to be treated all the same, and none of you are getting jobs.
Yeah, that's exactly how it's looked at. Instead of, it's always looked at what you've done before, not what you've
doing
done
now.
post conviction. Or you do all this hard work, and then it's like a kick in the guts, and another kick in the guts, and it's very difficult. A lot of women to keep getting back up after getting so many rejections.
For sure.
And especially if you're sitting at a table getting told by a man
You ain't
that
shit.
we're not going to give you this job anymore. But say you're a woman who was abused as a child by a man, grew up, got into a DV relationship, again abused by a man, and then that led to drug use because there was no mental health support or no one believed you. And then you get your shit together, you do A, B, C, D, you study, you do your time, and then you're sitting there and this guy across from you is going, well, you know what?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You still ain't shit.
You're a risk and you
Yeah.
can't work here. I think it also needs to be seen as a gender discrimination issue as opposed to just a conviction history issue, because yes, men do it tough when they get out of prison. I do not want to take away or minimize from that, but I can't speak to that because I'm not a man, right?
Yeah.
But from a woman's perspective, if we are overrepresented in the cohort that experiences violence, gender-based violence, and that has led to offending, and you look at the statistics of women who are in prison, it's in upwards of the 99th percentile of the reason behind the offending is the trauma history.
Yes.
How is this not a gender-based issue if you're discriminated against when you're going for a job?
Yeah.
Very true.
If you look at
Very
it from
true.
that perspective, it's more than just a conviction history issue. It's a fucking women's issue as well.
Yeah.
So they need to maybe think a little bit more outside the box with these things too.
Absolutely.
Government don't tend to do that though.
No.
Yeah, I know.
They're more inside the dumb box. But
Definitely inside the
dumb box.
The moron gene.
Yeah, they definitely got that. I just recently saw that you went to the Philippines it was to accept an award.
Yeah.
And during your time there, you actually visited a prison over in Manila.
Yeah, correct.
How was that? And I guess what was the biggest difference between the two prisons? Like, well, not two prisons, but between Australian prison and Philippines.
Yeah. So with that, I'd say in the Philippines, no one can see the size of the studio, but maybe times this by 3, 60 women in a space.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So very overcrowded, bunk beds across each wall. Not all the women have mattresses. Some of them are sleeping on like a thin cardboard. So there were definitely parts there that, you know, we can compare it to Australia and say much better conditions, right? But they've got a much stronger focus on family. So they allow the children to come every day except for the days when they've got programs on.
Yeah.
So work training programs, educational programs. And they also allow the time to be not so much monitored, so they can spend quite a lot of time with their kids and with their partners or their mum's family members. And it was funny because I said to the warden and the people working within the prison, I said, what happens when the women come out of prison? Because we have a problem where, you know, there's homelessness, they have nowhere to go, and then the cycle just continues. And they were like, thought the question was a joke. And they were laughing. And I'm like, why is everyone laughing?
No, this is serious.
Did I say something funny?
Serious problem.
It's like a serious question.
Yeah.
And they said, what do you mean? Where do they go? They just go back to their
Yeah,
families.
see, they're like, they just go home.
Because they're allowed to have that time for connection, you know. So I would say that that's probably one of the biggest differences is that family focus, that focus on connection, keeping people connected to the outside and the people that are going to support them on the outside when they get out. And also too, I found that a lot of the families looked after the children. The children were not removed and put elsewhere. The family kind of all shared the duties of looking after the children. And I thought that was really beautiful aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
it's less traumatic for the children.
Yes.
In turn, they don't get traumatized as children, in turn grow up and
Well, we say all
themselves in the
this,
same
you know,
position.
well, there's a big rhetoric about all this youth crime. A child is not just born and
bad.
becomes
Not born bad.
goes into crime.
Yeah.
And if we look after our women who are our mothers, who raise our children, and we make sure they're healthy, guess what? We're going to have healthy children. Like, what is so complicated about that aspect of things? Healthy mother, healthy children, and then there's a statistic that says that if your parent has been incarcerated, you have a much higher chance of having charges of being incarcerated. You know, my father had been in prison. And a lot of the women that I know, one or both parents had been to prison. So there's that flow-on effect that happens as well. So if we start looking after our women, they can look after the children, and that in itself is crime prevention.
Yeah.
So we talk about all this crime prevention.
Yeah.
We need to go back to basics on crime prevention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a great
And
thing.
nothing fixes the problem. I don't know how to explain what I'm going to say, but if you took, say, like David Crisafulli, and he had a son and he had done something, whatever he had hypothetically done, and he had gone to juvie, and then he graduates from juvie, as they do, and then they're top of the food chain in juvie, and then they come out and they do something else, and then they go into big boy prison, but they're at the bottom of the food chain. The things that happen to the young men that go into prison are absolutely horrific. There was one young man that went into big boy prison, and another inmate, had nothing to lose, lifer, doesn't give a fuck, tried to rape him, tried to sodomize him, and he was running away, and he hurled himself out of a 2-story window building and broke both his legs. So tell me if that was your child.
Oh my God.
Is this helping?
Yeah.
Is this helping the situation?
It's not.
Probably fucking not.
No.
But they think it will never happen to me. It will never happen to my child. And until it does, I don't think they'll ever truly fucking get it.
Yeah. I was really shocked to find out that, I know in America it's very big that the prisons are privately owned. I was very shocked to find out that prisons here are privately owned also, and
Really?
they're for profit,
Yep.
privately owned companies. So there is a business in keeping people incarcerated.
There is, and
that
a
is-
lot of people don't
I
know
no
that.
idea.
That's
Another
fucking
thing is
hectic.
too, there are big businesses like Oraton, and also I know in the US, Victoria's Secret, and here Qantas, that actually use the labour of prisoners, and they're paid nothing to do work for them. But what I would like to know is, what is Qantas Oraton doing to support jobs for people coming out?
Yeah, they
So-
offering them jobs when they get out.
Your slave labour is good enough, but then when you get out, like what job opportunity? I feel like if they use prison labour, which I don't agree with, but if they do use prison labour, for every single person that does labour for them in prison, they need to offer them a job when they get out.
Yes.
Because they're good enough to do the work inside, so why aren't they
And
outside?
the list is hidden. The list is hidden of all the corporations that actually use prison labour. The list is a lot longer than that, and they're the more well-known ones.
Why so sneaky? Why does it have to be hidden? What do you have to hide?
we have all this stuff. Exactly. We have all this stuff about modern slavery and blah, blah. And all right, well, it's going on every single fucking day in the prisons.
Yeah.
But it's not at the forefront of everyone's mind.
It's hard for people to, I think, look at it in that way also because they're like, well, they've done the crime, so they're doing the crime. Like they don't have any kind of compassion towards these prisoners that are in there, and considering they don't even know what crime they've done or even if they were wrongfully convicted.
It's like they become, they literally treat them like not human.
Yeah.
You know, like they're in prison. So.
And so I think that makes it easy for big corporations like that or for profit companies to own prisons.
Even here we have all these, I guess, derogatory names for people who are in jail, like criminal, prisoner. In the Philippines, they call it persons deprived of liberty.
Oh.
So that's how they refer to them.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually
That's actually nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Because they are still a person, it's just that they're deprived of their liberty for that period in time.
Yeah.
They're not any other label.
That's very respectful.
Yeah, I thought it was too. I thought that was nice. But Qantas, where's the jobs for people coming out of
Getting
prison?
Qantas. You're getting all these handouts too from the government, Qantas.
Yeah.
You don't even pay your workers, Qantas.
We need to get our hands on that list.
Yeah. Why so secret? Why so? I don't like no transparency. It's like if this is what your business is doing, then why are you hiding it? If you think it's okay to do it, then you shouldn't.
Then don't hide it.
You shouldn't hide it. I don't like that. That
it
screams sneaky. It's
that's yucky.
dirty business. It
Yes,
does.
yes.
It does.
So, your partner Dean,
Yeah.
and so you met Dean. I was sort of up to the point in the book where you guys actually, you know what I really loved about it was the story of Dean replacing your mum and dad's washing machine.
Okay,
and
they're going to say replacing my ex.
no, that too. But
That's a great. Yes, I like that part too. Good job, Dean.
no, but how he, brand new washing machine, fridge, and it just rocked up on their doorstep. And I was like, oh, that's such a feel-good thing that he did.
It speaks to his kind-hearted nature, which I think sometimes people see somebody and they stereotype them straight away.
Yes.
We all know this.
Oh, if you saw Dean, you would think he's this big, bad, mean.
But he's really
tough
just
guy.
like a teddy.
To
He's
people
a
that he
lovely guy.
loves, he is. So it just shows that people are never just one thing. We've all got different sides to ourselves. We all wear different masks depending on the situation, and that there is good in people that supposedly do bad things.
Yeah.
You know?
So how long? So you guys would be 10 years together?
Longer.
Almost longer.
On and off. Coming up to maybe 12. Because altogether prior, obviously we're engaged, and then coming up to 10 years since we were charged,
Yeah.
Is that the ring that they cut off of your finger?
I was looking at that before.
maybe.
That's a beautiful ring.
Beautiful. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to read the book to know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And also, we were discussing this before we started filming, that she's got an Audible book as well, and that's what we've been listening to. And as soon as Chelsea heard Felicia talk, she said, "Is it your voice reading the book?" And yeah, it is. And Felicia was just going through how traumatic it was having to do the audio.
Wild. Like if you listen to the book, it's such a nice, you have such a nice soothing voice. I think everyone's probably going to say that after listening to the podcast, but you really have, I don't know, it's a really nice voice.
Yeah.
And it was like the first thing, as soon as I started the book, I was like, oh my God, I love this person's voice.
It was so funny. We were talking not long ago, actually, with a couple of friends at you know, how I sound on the audio book and then how I speak when I'm around my friends.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, what is this? Like, posh
We've never
Harvard?
heard
I
that
could
before.
actually hear though when you would read a sentence that you actually really like you felt it.
Yeah.
Your tone would change a
My
little
ghetto
bit.
little bit.
came out.
Yeah.
The Sydney came out here and there.
Sydney
Yeah.
I did actually notice that
I think
too.
it was great that you
Yeah.
did the audio yourself. You did it because obviously it's your story. You know, like the feelings, the emotions that you're reading off the paper. So I think it really helps kind of tell your story. If
Oh,
it was
for
just
sure.
this monotone voice reading it without that kind of, I guess,
like expression through voice.
I
'cause-
don't think it would have been as given it as what its justice that it deserves. So I think you did a really good job of that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I did it, but during I was like having second thoughts about having done it. But I actually had to record a sample clip of me reading the book so that they would allow me to read it because they were like, we're going to actually listen to you reading it. And if we think that you're able to do it, yeah, we can go ahead. But we're also going to consider voice actors as well.
Okay.
And I pushed to be able to read it.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's better when it's coming from the
Yes.
person who's
Yeah.
actually, it's their story. Because imagine someone else read it and I was like, oh, I don't like the way they said that.
Yeah.
And I probably would be like that, right?
Yeah.
Knowing me. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that I did read it.
Delete the audio.
Yeah. We're not releasing it at all.
It's cancelled. Like.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had to obviously go through voice training. They had to teach you how to express.
I'd had quite a lot of voice training prior for speaking because
Yeah.
I had, before any of this book stuff had even manifested, I started to do a lot of speaking. And funnily enough, I actually had studied journalism and video journalism prior, like when I first left school.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd use those skills.
I could see you as a
here we
news
are.
reporter.
Fully. Yeah. 100%.
And then I also had some training at NIDA for presenting.
Yeah.
And this is like a very long time ago. I'm talking like I was maybe 18 or 19 years
Yeah, wow.
old, like really young. And I was doing it for fun and I never thought I would, rehone those skills. Then I had a voice coach as well. So I had a guy teach me how to speak and he has a speaking, school and all the rest of it. And he really encouraged me to be more confident and, so he taught me a lot of skills. I feel like even if you're really good at something, you can still refine those skills
you can always
even
be better.
further. You
Yeah.
can always want to strive to be better each time you
Yeah.
do something, you want to be better. So he helped me with that. And then he got to a point where he was like, I can't help you anymore.
You're too good.
You're too good.
Like we've just reached the top.
Too
You're
good
not
now,
gonna do
dear.
Get a
that.
gold star.
I beg to differ. There's always room for improvement, but he really, helped me to have the confidence to be able to then record the audio book.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Isn't it funny? Something you did at such a young age, so long ago, has now come back and you're
So
just
weird.
like, boom, boom, boom. It's
My friends that actually went to journalism college with me joke with me now. They're like, who would have thought that those skills are coming in handy now?
yeah.
Paying off now.
Yeah,
It
literally.
literally makes me think sitting here, wow, all I've done is fight my whole
Yeah.
life. I have no other skills.
Yeah, that's like a big pivot. But people always ask me, what am I going to do after I finish fighting?
I
and
get
that's
that
all I
too.
know. And they're like, oh, you're going to coach. I'm terrible at coaching. I don't know my left from my right unless it's me doing it. And then sometimes I still get confused.
Whereas I'm the opposite. I love coaching.
Yeah.
Like I would definitely coach.
So I'm
that for
just not
funny.
good at it. And I'm like, I would love to open a gym maybe, but then my passion is obviously collecting animals. And Adrian,
is
my
too.
husband, was coming home from where was he coming from? New South Wales. And he pulled over at a pub. He was with Paulie, our friend. And he Snapchats me this school bus full of dogs.
Oh.
It was a doggy daycare bus. I'm like, that's it.
That's what you
That's
do.
what I'm doing.
Actually, you know what?
I can so see you doing that.
You could so have a doggy daycare.
Yes.
It's
I could.
pretty lucrative now because
Yeah.
everyone has pets.
Yeah,
Everyone.
and you can earn
Yeah.
some fucking good money in doggy day.
And it's dogs
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I found it. Now I finally have something to look forward to after I finish fighting.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that.
I reckon it's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Rowdy Beck's doggy day.
Adrian's like,
Soon
he
you'll
wishes
be
he
like-
never showed me the
Yeah.
Snapchat.
Like, what have I fucking started
Now
here?
we're buying a bus, and soon it won't just be dogs.
No.
It'll be any animal.
Llamas will be getting
Yeah.
dropped
Yeah.
off,
Oh, yeah.
horses,
Yeah.
everything.
Goats.
That's
You name
so
it.
funny.
I'm a bit like that too. I've got 4 dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would have more if I
Yeah.
was allowed.
What breeds?
3 French bulldogs and 1 Chihuahua.
I love that.
Cute.
And
Oh my
Chihuahua's
God.
the boss, right?
She's the boss
Yeah.
of everything. And she's the loudest, you know.
Yeah.
You go to enter the door and you hear this, and it's like, you go girl, guard dog, you know, and she's literally like 1 kilo. She's
Yeah,
like,
it's funny how the small ones are the feisty ones.
Yeah.
Because I have a sausage dog.
Yeah.
And she's the same. She's like the smallest thing in this pack of like big dogs, and she's just like,
She's the most feisty.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's so feisty.
the boss.
She's a psycho. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us
Yes.
today.
Thanks
Honestly,
for
that
having me,
was
ladies.
Thank
that was
you.
such a great chat, and I learned a lot. I really did, and I
Yeah.
can't wait to. I want to finish your book. I want to just continue to follow you and see what big things come out of your projects that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And also stay tuned for, I hate when people say that, but we're in the like beginning stages of looking at having the book made into a film.
Yes.
So, and you'll be able to
Yes.
give me advice on that
I
because
can't
you went
wait.
through that process with
Yeah.
the documentary.
So is it going to be like a film as in people acting as you? Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so exciting.
So
That is gonna be
funny.
an
It's like, how do you
insane
choose
story.
somebody to play you?
Yeah, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to sit there and they just come out and you're just like, no,
Yeah. It's gonna be
no.
So weird.
Yeah.
Dean said, I'm playing myself. And I said, you're too old to play yourself 10 years ago. Are you kidding?
No, they've
And
got
you don't even know how
CGI
to
now.
act. Do you know? I'm going to play myself? Like, I don't think so.
That's so
Oh my god,
funny.
I love it.
That's so funny. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be
Cool.
weird and exciting.
It will
Yeah.
be.
It's even weird having a book, like seeing your face on
It
the shelf.
is.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Like, very bizarre.
It was
Yeah.
odd when I was watching myself in the movie. So I'm like,
it's
this
so
is
weird.
so
You can't
weird.
explain the feeling, but it's very bizarre.
And listening
People
to your
think
own
it's going to
voice
be
as well.
great.
I can
They're
imagine.
thinking, that's so great.
Yeah.
But when it's actually happening to you,
Because it's your life.
you're
It's
like,
your
oh,
story.
that's it's so weird.
Yeah. I can so imagine that would feel funny. Yeah.
And yeah, remind everyone what your book's called, your memoir.
It's called Accessory.
Accessory.
Yeah.
It's got a really. Do you have a picture of
Yeah,
it?
I
You
do. Hang on, I'll
Grab
just-
it. We'll chuck it in the camera.
We'll put it in the camera.
It's really pretty.
So pretty. Beautiful photo.
Yes.
Stunning.
And yeah, it's available on Audible as well. And I'll be listening to the rest of it on my drive home to
I'm going to
Brisbane.
listen to my calming voice.
Yeah, I highly recommend listening to it. Yeah.
Dean will be like, her voice is not calming. Whatever.
No, at home my voice is not calming. Or if you
You've
piss
got
me
a
off,
home
I do not
voice.
have like a Blacktown voice and then a Harvard voice.
I love that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
ladies.
Bye, guys.
Oh, that's so funny.
It is very